everybody. Hi.
Hey.
Welcome,
Hello.
welcome. Thank you all for coming. I greatly appreciate it. My name is Kat. I am the Nurse Flipper, and I'm joined by my co-host Rod, Picking and Punching. And then below me is Corey from Grams and Pops Vintage, and Caddy Corner is Mr. Ken, SSK Promo. So thank you all that are in the chat. We already have over 100 people in the chat before we started. Somebody asked, do we always start late? The answer to that is going to be yes. I actually forgot to make the intro and outro tonight, so that's why we were late tonight. It's all my fault.
Kat, if we always start late, that means we start on time.
Yeah, if we always do, that's kind of true.
That means we're on time then.
Consistency.
So we're at our usual. We're on
time.
We are. So I want to tell you guys there are already a ton of questions in the queue. So tonight it's more important than ever to get them in early. There are a lot. So if you want us to answer live, you need to get them in now. So I'm going to make Corey big, let him introduce himself. I'm going to make Ken big as well. I believe I put their podcast link down in the description as well. They do have a podcast together. I'm sure they will tell you about that. And Marsha will share the link for us throughout the night. So here is Corey.
Hey guys, Corey. I'm one half of Grams and Pops Vintage on YouTube, eBay, Facebook, and Instagram, and also one half of the Reseller Clickbait podcast with Ken here. We're full-time resellers, and that's about it.
Perfect. Here's Ken.
Hey, I am Ken, SSK Promo, Mr. Bill, the DOG, El Luchador, and a number of other names. Also a full-time reseller, and the other half of the Reseller Clickbait podcast with Corey from Grams and Pops.
Perfect. All right. That they say that's the quietest that they have seen Ken. Thank you guys. Listen, we couldn't do this podcast without you guys, so we really appreciate all of you guys being here. He's definitely Grams, I think.
Just don't tell Grams.
Don't tell her that we said that though. All right, let's see what we got. So guys, the questions started rolling in before 2 p.m. to give you an idea. 2 p.m. the questions started rolling in. So because she put it so early, this is not a question, this is a statement, but I wanted to put it up here. Monica said, thinking of you, my fellow nurse friend, I'm in Southeast Louisiana, recently experienced the wrath of Cat 2 Florence, not devastating, but much worse than forecast. If you do not know, I am in the direct path. I'm on the outer edge of the cone, but I am in the predicted cone. They have canceled school for Dalton for tomorrow and Thursday. We have filled up our gas cans. We have filled up our generator. I've filled up my car. We have got food. We have got water. So we are prepared. There is a mandatory evacuation in my area for mobile homes. I am not in a mobile home. Therefore, I'm not under a mandatory evacuation. If I get put under a mandatory evacuation, I will leave. Okay, I will say that. And I have a friend's house I can go to that has room for me and all my crazy dogs. But I'm hoping that it dances. Sorry, Tallahassee and Panama City, but I hope it dances a little to the left. So we will be safe. Rod's going to get hit with those outer bands as well. We're going to get whipped. Everybody on the west coast of Florida we're going to feel this, whether we're in the direct path or not. Last time we were without power 3 days. The time before that was 9 days. So cross your fingers. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I'm in the Tampa Bay area, so they already canceled school for my stepson and go left. Yeah, it needs to move one way or another because I'm supposed to have tickets to go to the Eagles-Bucks game this weekend, and my dad is driving down from Pennsylvania right now, and my brother is supposed to fly into Tampa on Friday. Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting week.
Sounds like it. Well, stay safe. Stay safe, everyone.
First question from Tina is, She says she's in Denmark. She has a vintage Etsy shop. She has some rare items that she'd like to have in an auction. So do you think it's a bad idea to start an eBay store for those items? Or like, so I think she's asking, would you start with like the items you're wanting to auction? Or do you think it's better to build the eBay store up first?
That go to me first?
Yes.
I'm the hot seat? Okay.
You are in the hot seat.
I don't think I'd worry about a store if I was I'd worry about the store when I had too many items that forced me to have a store. I mean, you could sell on auction or not on auction just as easy without a store.
Yeah, I guess you don't really have to have the store, but I would definitely try to build up that eBay presence. Try to get some followers. Try to get people, watching your items. Before you put the really good stuff, the really rare items, you want to have as many eyes on those as you can see that can see them. Just my advice, yeah, stores not necessary, but I'd build a following first, get some feedback going.
Yeah, I think Ken made a good point. If you have super rare items, sometimes it is a deterrent for people if you have a zero feedback or very low feedback. So the first thing I would do is I would literally go on eBay. I would go to the sports card category or pens or whatever. Because in sports cards, you can buy cards for 99 cents free shipping. And I would literally don't buy from the same buyer. I would find like 10 or 20 different buyers to buy from. Invest $20, get those. So you get the positive feedback from those sellers there. And that way you can quick build up feedback right off the bat. And I would probably put up a couple items maybe a couple items up listing first before you just start off with auctions with the rare items. At least figure out the site first. Make sure those rare items are something they're going to sell at auction. That's the biggest thing, because you have to make sure that rare item also has a demand for it, because it could be super rare but not a lot of demand. So if you put it up for auction, it could just sell with one buyer. So sometimes when you do have a rare item, you might just list it as a high buy it now, maybe with the best offer on it, and let the market dictate the price. So you have to be very careful when it comes to auctions.
I'm kind of on the fence because like half of me wants to say, and I don't think you need an eBay store period until you have over 200 items. I will say that. As far as like building up your reputation, I'm really on the fence because when I do my research videos, I see auctions that sell that the buyer has one or the seller has one feedback, so they still sell. So I think what's kind of on key, you need to make sure it's there, because if the demand's not there, you're going to be very disappointed in the auction.
We can't hear you. Very robotic. We can't hear anything you're saying.
Rod, talk for a minute. Let me switch over to my phone internet.
Yeah, no problem. No, I get what Kat's saying. Those items will still sell. I just know, me personally, when I see people on there with low feedback, I'm more cautious than I am not. And the part of the reason is because one is, do I know what they're doing? Are they brand new starting? Are they going to be able to ship the item right? I end up asking a lot more questions. But another thing though too is there's new users that come in all the time. So during Christmas time, I get a ton of first-time buyers that are buying items that they find on Google, and they get the direct link to eBay and go on there. So yes, you can still sell items with zero feedback or very low feedback. I just when I know from my experience, when a seller has more feedback, I feel more comfortable with that situation, especially if it's going to be a rare or high dollar item. But Kat, you better know.
Yeah. Okay. But if the demand's there, they're going to buy it regardless of your feedback, is like kind of what I'm saying. So I'm kind of half and half on that. You need to watch out for the scammers and spammers. If you don't have the 20 feedback, like Rod said, I agree with that as well. Buy the cheap things, build up your feedback. So I would probably build up the feedback first and list some other items. And then once you can get that feedback over like 15 or 20, then go ahead and run those auctions. But check, rare does not mean in demand. Rare does not mean in demand. And if it hasn't sold on Etsy, the demand might not be there. Yeah. That's what I would caution you.
So just going back to what I said, the reason why I said, I know you put in here, buy off the same person so that you can save money on items. The reason why I said buy off multiple different sellers, because if I buy something off Pops right there, Corey, if I buy 10 items off him, I can only get feedback he can leave me 10 feedback, but it's only going to count for one for my overall rating on eBay.
Yeah.
So the reason why you would want to go to buy one from Kat, buy one from Corey, buy one from Ken. That way, when each seller leave me feedback, they can leave me one goes to my overall number that's behind your name on eBay. So even if I buy 100 items from the same person, they can leave me 100 feedback, but still the overall number behind my name is going to just show one. So keep that in mind.
Right. Is my sound and stuff better now that I switched to the phone internet?
A lot better.
I need to just do that at the beginning. I wanted to throw this up here. If you guys do not know Yvonne Thrifty Rich, she is a very good friend of mine. She has a channel here on YouTube. Definitely check her out. She is who made the famous Kevin super chat. She is the creator of Kevin's butt. So definitely go give Yvonne. Give her a follow. She's great to follow. She's fun. Check her out if you don't know her already. I'm sure a lot of you already do. All right. Miss Wendy says, what size box would you use to send an American Girl doll? Having the worst time finding a box. Should I cut something down 20 by, I'm assuming the doll is 20 by 8 by 5. She said she's stumped.
Yeah. Well, first, I like your guys' answers to the last question way better. Now I'm seeing why the hot seat is a hot seat.
It is the hot
for this
seat.
one, for sure, I would customize a box. I would probably start with a Walmart or a Lowe's box or something like that, and just cut it down to the size. Once you get used to making your box sizes and do it a few times, it's really not as big a deal as most people make it out to be. Like, you can customize a box for anything.
Yeah, agreed. The old Frankenbox, get that going. One of the things I actually learned from Corey watching one of their videos about shipping was just taking 2 boxes and putting them together, not really even having to cut down something or do sizes. You know, if you've got something that fits in the box but it's not tall enough, just put another of the same size box right over top, tape them together around the middle, out the door it goes.
Yeah, I do the same thing a lot of times. Cut up boxes, I'll Frankenstein them. I keep a razor blade where I can quick slice. If you just perforate the thing, the pieces will fall right over, real simple. So you don't even need the fancy. What is I don't even know what the tool's called. The one that has like the roller on the side where you can just roll over your boxes and fold over.
Yeah, like the shed flips one that they made, like that has a little roller thing.
It's actually called a box resizer. Okay,
well, a box sizer. Yeah, like that thing.
Yeah. I don't have one of those. I literally just take a box cutter and I just cut the side, but just enough so I can fold it over and stuff like that. But same, just as you were talking about,
doesn't work if you can't draw a straight line. Yeah. I'm horrible at drawing a straight line.
So what I do is I actually put the item in the box, and then while it's in the box, I just go right above it.
I do that too.
The item over across. Yeah, that's the easiest way to do it. So I can make sure I have the perfect size for it. But another trick too is I go to Sam's Club, I go to Costco's. They have a huge stack of free boxes right in the very beginning of it. Oh. So you can grab boxes.
I read she said to discard her question, but I think this is a good question, Wendy. I think it's a good question. So with those sizes, I will tell you a free way. 2 free shoe boxes from USPS would fit that doll perfect, put end on end.
Yes.
Yep.
So if you have another American Girl doll. So Gila, hi friend. Thank you so much for the super chat. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. I'm going to give you my favorite one, which is the whale. Here you go. Another one. Wolfman's Goodies paid $2 to tell you all that he is looking for the SpongeBob VHS. So if anybody in the chat has the SpongeBob VHS, let him know. Let him know. Since Yvonne is in the house, I'm going to give you Yvonne's mermaid super chat. I don't use that very often. Here you go. And then Wendy also was asking, is it too soon to tell where they expect? It is a little early, but our county has been hit so much. They're being very safe. So they have already closed schools down and they already have opened shelters as of tomorrow morning. And they've already put out mandatory evacuations. So as it gets closer, that might get lifted and it might change. Hurricanes like to weave and bob and like they have their spaghetti models, but if you look, there's always one veering way left and one veering way right. So they are predictable to a point, but I've seen them, like Ian changed overnight and slammed Fort Myers and Sanibel a few years ago. It was originally projected to hit here, and overnight it like took a sharp right into them. So I think it's better to be safe than sorry. I don't run though. I'm a native Floridian. I don't get scared very easily by them.
So for those that don't know, in Florida, we get scares like this every month for like 4 months straight. So what most people do, no lie, they go to the store, they fill up a bunch of booze, and they literally have hurricane parties. It's very common in Florida. That does happen. A lot of people do, but I mean, we won't know what's really going to happen until probably Wednesday morning after it gets by Cuba and Cancun. So once it gets past there, then we'll have a better understanding of the path of it.
We'll know more tomorrow.
Yeah, and then they close a lot of schools down too, because I heard that buses can't go over 35 miles an hour winds because it'd be more of a liability. That's what I was told.
Well, for ours, they're closed because they are our shelters, and they're opening them as shelters tomorrow morning. So,
same thing here.
All right. Mr. Leroy has a question. He says, if somebody buys an item and returns it saying there is an issue, and you can tell through your pictures it was a bait and switch, what to do, or what would you do?
That's a good question. That's a thinker. Actually, we did something recently that we're really liking with our returns, and that is if you go under shipping preferences and you go under your return preferences, you could click a box. It's all the way at the bottom of the page that lets you issue an RMA before they automatically do a return, before they submit a label. So by clicking that box, you get a chance to actually talk to the customer before eBay automatically accepts it. So in this case, since we have that on, I would actually tell them in the picture, it looks like that's not actually our unit. Make sure you verify it's our unit before you send the return. Once we get it back, we'll issue a refund. That will probably discourage them from returning it in the first place.
Corey, can you explain to the audience what that is? Exactly what you just said, the RNA.
Yeah. If you just go under your settings in eBay and look at your shipping preferences, once you're in there, look for return preferences, scroll all the way down to the bottom. There's a checkbox, and an RMA it's just a return merchandise authorization. It's saying you have to authorize it before eBay automatically does it for you. So it gives you a chance to get in the middle, and that does cut down on returns.
Because nothing's more frustrating than getting a return accepted automatically, and then like especially when like the buyers reach out and say, "Oh, I don't want this anymore," and then they open a return that says, "I am not described" or something like that. Like,
it definitely cuts your returns down if you get a chance to intercede before eBay automatically just does it for you.
Like it.
Yeah, that kind of makes a person think twice about trying to be scammy or whatever. Yeah, I have no answer better than Corey's. All I did was write down a note about that because I did not know that was a preference that you could actually do. So I'm going to just reference you to Corey's answer. Just rewind a little bit, listen to Corey, and then go on to Rod.
Yeah, so if you guys watched my flipping and punching channel today, I literally dropped a video where I had a similar situation where a buyer tried to return an item after destroying my Sega Genesis box and stuff. So unfortunately, you're going to have to contact eBay, especially if, and I had proof of the pictures they sent and the proof of my original photos. I provided those to eBay. So when you open a case, first you can report the buyer to eBay. That's one. So you got to do that. And if the buyer has a history of this, they will flag the account. They can get that account shut down. And then once you contact eBay will send you a direct link to fill out. And it's a form which you have to upload photos. Because I literally just did this a couple of days ago.
Affidavit.
Yeah, it's like an affidavit pretty much. And you have to upload photos and explain what happened and to fill out all the information. And then eBay, at that point in time, eBay will make a decision on the case then, like a day or two later.
Yeah, so this is a hard one for me because most of the time I just say forget it and move on unless it's really expensive. I agree with Rod. I probably should report. I haven't had this happen that I'm aware of though, and I don't think it's a very common thing. I know like a lot of people Like you'll find with any like YouTuber or channel that people talk about the negative, and that's because the negative is what gets the views. So nobody's talking about the thousands of items they've sold that nobody's tried to bait and switch on, you know, but heaven forbid you get one, you're going to make a video on, and I would too. I mean, you'll watch it if I tell you about it. But I don't think it's very common. So if it were me, most likely I would probably just let it go. Patty's asking, can you do RMA and still be top rated? I think I have RMA. I think I have it on. I have to authorize mine, even though I have free 30-day returns. I'm pretty sure I have that on myself. All right. Miss Rhoda says, I'm getting so many lowball offers lately. I used to always counter and leave a note with a decline if they came back low again. Is it bad for the algorithm to just decline outright?
Our last video was all about lowball offers. Me and Teresa disagree on how to handle them. But basically, I think any offer or counter offer is probably good for the algorithm. So I don't think getting those is a bad thing. I think they're frustrating for some people, but I don't see a lowball offer as a bad thing necessarily. It's all activity. I'd say just counter, and if you don't like it, decline.
Yeah, I don't know how it affects the algorithm if you just straight out decline. I'm going to counter. If it's a really low ball, I'm going to counter just a couple dollars under what my selling price was.
Do one penny like me, Ken.
Yeah, that's just I'll do. And then if they come back with something a little bit higher, I'll offer at what the lowest, that I would want to offer. And if they keep sending low balls, I just keep sending that same dollar amount over and over again. And eventually they use up all their offers and they go away. I don't mind dealing with the customers, or there's not that many lowball offers that take up that much time in my day. So I'm just gonna counter with what I'm comfortable with, and they go away eventually, or they decline me. It's like, okay, I tried.
So when I first started on eBay, I used to get mad when I used to get like super low ball offers, and I used to have to automatically decline anything that was under like 50%, stuff like that. But then when I used to go out picking, I lowball people sometimes, not on purpose. Sometimes I'm just trying to test the water and see what they would take. Sometimes they just take it because they just want it gone at a garage sale. So then I changed my mindset. I was like, well, if I do that when I go out picking, what's the difference to someone doing that to me on eBay? Maybe they're just trying to kick the tires, kind of see where I stand on the item. And there's times where I've had a $100 item, people send me an offer for like $10, and I decline the offer, and then they come back with like a 60 or 70% offer then after that. So, you can just tell how people are maybe just trying to test the water. I would say it's good because I think it's great for the algorithm. So I never decline it. I always send a counter, and I always put a message in there, say, hey, I'm willing to work with you, but I can't go that low. And if the buyer is serious, they will come back with like a more legit offer. That's happened a lot. But I will say there's a lot of times I get a low ball offer and I'm interacting with a buyer, and then someone else comes in and just buys it full price. That happens all the time.
Yes, so, and I maybe it does have something to do with that.
I want to message that buyer and be like, look.
Maybe it does that back and forth have something to do with the algorithm and gets some attention on that particular item. But Rod, you were saying that you do that at yard sales, but if you have a $100 item listed, somebody's lowballing you at 10, I'm pretty sure that if you're at a yard sale, you're not offering somebody $10 for a $100 item. So sometimes it's just ridiculous and out of hand.
But I will tell you this: there's times I go to a yard sale, they'll say the item's $100. Say, hey, listen, I do resell. This item only sells for $40, $50. I would go to buy and give you like $10 or $15. And then once I have the conversation with them, I enter in that dialogue. I may get it for $10 or $15 because they just overpriced the item, or they had no idea how to price the item. So that's happened too. So that's why I always say is I changed. It's just for me interacting with people. It just changed my mindset over time.
So it depends on my mood. That's kind of the bottom line for me.
Hashtag Teresa.
Yep.
If I'm in a bad mood, I counter them at a penny under just to prove a point. If I'm in an okay mood, I just decline it. If it's a slow sales day and I'm feeling nice, I'm going to counter. So
Teresa just
I
yelled
really
at me.
I have no set anything. And I talked about this on my last What Sold video. And actually, it might not be coming out till tomorrow. So I'll tell you already. If it's a slow sales day, I am much, much more likely to accept a lowball offer. And that is because I feel like not necessarily the countering, that's kind of up in the air for me as far as whether the algorithm's helping it or not. But I think that a sale does help the algorithm. So that's why I am much more likely to accept a lowball offer on a slow sales day and be like, okay, like I only paid $5 for this. Yeah, they're only offering me 30. I have it at 80. I don't care. I have 0 in sales today. Let's see if this will kick it off. And somebody just got a really good deal. But if you catch me on $1,000 sales day, I'm not going to negotiate very much with you. So there are so many different factors that kind of come into play with that.
I think
my mood, how my sales are, like just roll a dice.
I think your buying costs. Like there's times I buy an item for $5 that's worth $100 or $200, and if I have it listed up for $200, and someone sends me an offer for $100 or $125, I'm like, well, I could probably get $150, $175 for it, but I only paid $5 for it. So why don't I just take the offer at that point in time? Because, I don't have to get every single penny out of that sale. I'm here to flip items, keep the cash flow coming in and out. So that's another reason why, if sometimes people send me an offer 50, 60%, and that item's been sitting in my store for 2 years, I'm just going to take it because I want it gone.
Yeah, lots of factors.
Size matters too. If it's a huge item taking up a big chunk of shelf,
and like if it's difficult to pack and ship. I want to get the panel's opinion on this statement. Jules in Crime says it may sound crazy, but I accept offers 100% of the time. I enjoy knowing someone got a deal just like me. I pay nickels for my items so I can afford to do it. So let's go around. What do you think about this?
I love it. Send me your eBay link.
I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm a reseller. I'm sourcing.
Yeah, I think Rod hit on it there, or both Corey and Rod with. It depends on the item, what you had in it, how long it's been sitting around, what size it is. There's a lot of factors. I'm probably never going to go 100% of the time, even with a low buy cost. I say a lot, you always fear that leaving money on the table, but I also, because I am full-time and this is what I do to keep the lights on and food in my belly, there's that difference between leaving money on the table and putting food on the table. And so sometimes you're just taking those, but I don't know if I do 100% of the time. I like to make people happy and think they got a good deal, but not all the time.
We preach it all the time on the show. You make your money on the buy, not the sell. Because whatever you buy, you're making money on the buy. If you have that buy, you can promote higher. You can, you run promotions. You can do a lot more stuff with your items. So I think she really hit the nail on the head on there. I would have to see what kind of items she's selling in there. If she has $1,000 item, I'm not going to, someone's going to offer for $50. I'm sure she's not going to take it. But
she said 100%.
Well,
that would mean she does.
Yeah. We're holding her to it.
I think that's absolutely insane. I don't think no I can say my opinion. No, like
it's her show.
That's why we're here. It is my show, Rod. I want to know, here's my question for you. Are you doing this as a hobby or are you doing this to pay your bills?
That's difference too.
Yes. I'm doing this to pay my bills, so I'll be damned, excuse my language, if I'm going to accept $10 on a $100 item that's worth $100.
Yeah.
That's my money. That's how I pay my bills. And anybody that knows me, don't ask me a question if you don't want my answer, because I'm going to tell you what I think and I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
I still want the link and I don't want you to share it with these guys.
But I mean, I think this is what, and I think a lot of resellers need to take this mindset. And I think a lot of people always want to try to get the maximum amount of money for their items. We don't always have to sell to the end user. you can be the middleman. So she's working as almost like a wholesaler or a meaning. She's selling to other resellers who can take that item and resell it for making profit. So she's making a profit. The other people can make a profit off it. So it's not a bad thing. If you go to a flea market, you go to, a lot of other places, swap meets, you go to, people that set up garage sales on like a weekly or monthly basis. That's exactly how they run their business. They literally get items in, they quick flip it.
And if you're working on volume, not 100% off. Yeah, not 100% off. And I don't think that. But another question, and I haven't seen her answer if she's doing this for a hobby or for like income. My question would also be, now I forgot my question. What was I gonna ask? I would also want to know too, though, like, are you working on volume? That's what I wanted to ask. So you're accepting every offer. Are you working on a volume? Yeah, I'm glad that's why you guys love me. Some of you don't know, I just told on myself, I really have a potty mouth. If you have ever met me in person, I feel Rod's laughing because he knows. I filter it very, very well on here, but at that second I didn't. So if you don't know and you ever meet me in person, do not be shocked. I cuss like a sailor. I'm not gonna lie. All right. So here, what did she say?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Oh, put it up here. The offer option only allows them. See, okay, so that's the thing. That's the thing. She has a minimum. Yeah. So you are not accepting them because what's happening is eBay is auto declining them if they're below what you want. So you are not accepting them. Sorry, Corey.
At least not the low ball. At least not the low ball offers.
Right. But she's not, because what happens when you set that amount, those offers come in and they're automatically declined.
Kat, did you see the update they did on the offers, by the way? So before, have you ever almost like sent an offer for like, say it was like $100, you want to send an offer for 90 and then you actually hit 9 and send it? Now they stop you in the system. You can, if you go to send offers, they have like a minimum. It has to be over a minimum amount now when you send your offers on eBay. I don't know if you saw that. I
have not seen that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Click on one of your items and try to send a $1 offer to it. It'll stop you.
Like a 1% off or a $1?
No,
I know. I send
item, try to send a $1 offer. The system will automatically stop it and say it has to be above this. Because what I think it was people were hitting
a good option.
But I think people were accidentally like fat fingers hitting the wrong buttons, or like
we've done
and I've done it before, and I've sent out offers to someone I had to honor, and so I think that's why they put that in place to stop it.
So when I send 50% off a lot on my stuff that's been in my store over a year, and every time eBay pops up and says, "Are you sure at 50% off you might not make a profit?" So that's a nice little warning bell as well. And that's a little bit newer as well. And I definitely like it, because if you accidentally did that, then that would be a pain in the butt. All right. Passionately Collected says, when you have a multi-item listing with a history of the number sold and positive reviews, do you still recommend ending and relisting after 90 days to refresh it? Not all, but I will tell you guys, the majority of these questions you are giving us are opinion and business based. So you're going to get different answers from everybody depending on their business model. And I suggest figuring out which meshes well with you, because you're going to hear a lot of different answers, and none of them are right and none of them are wrong. So I just want to kind of preface this question with that.
Yep. That's a good disclaimer. On our store, it depends on what the listing is. We have football cards. 1988 football cards is a good example. We have hundreds and hundreds of them. So we have multi-quantity listings. We never end and sell similar on. We have run it down to 0 before and had to sell similar off of that. We try never to do that, but we just leave the same listing up with the same reviews, same viewers, same watchers, because we get a lot of repeat buyers from card shops and things like that. So when we send out offers, we want them to continually go to those people. So we don't. And we leave ours up. We don't in and sell similar very often at all, actually, on many things.
Corey, what about if it's not multiple quantity though? Like items that are just a one-off item that's been sitting in your store for a while. Those items.
If it's there's rare occasions, like our we have a ton of Barbie stuff, and every once in a while we'll do like a big Barbie sale, but we may end and sell similar on all the Barbie stuff. But for the most case, we use the promotions based on how long it's been in the store, and the longer it's been in the store depends on what our discount is. We don't want to go through custom SKU and everything else to try and figure out how long it's been on the store. So we don't very often. There are exceptions, but we don't in and sell similar very often.
Finally, something I can disagree with Corey on. I was tired of agreeing with him on every answer.
I knew it was coming.
That's not our MO over there on the podcast. I don't mind ending and selling similar, get that whole new refresh on my items. Actually, here probably about a month ago, I ended all of my listings. I ended everything in the whole store and relisted it. And man, I had a great sales days for a week or two. All those items getting refreshed, things that have been in there for a long time. The one thing that drives me nuts is watchers. What are you watching? Buy it or don't buy it? I know a lot of buyers, if they click on there that they're going to watch it, then they're hoping that they're going to get an offer sent to them. But I have best offers on. Send me an offer on that item. So I don't mind ending and selling similar, refreshing that thing. I do sales, of course, but I'm not based on how long it's been in my store. I usually do category-based sales. I'm going to do like all hats or all plush or all, something electronics. And so that's how I'm running my sales, not by the date. So I end it, sell similar quite often.
I'm with Corey on this one. If it's multi-quantity, I'm going to keep it up there because I don't like to end and sell similar, because I like seeing, if I go to buy an item that has multi-quantity and it has 0 sold and it's like 40 quantity of 45, that's almost a turn off. Like, oh, maybe the item's overpriced or something else. But if I go to Corey's page and he has, the box of 1988 Topps football there, and there's 40 sold and 5 left, I'm like, oh man, this might be a great deal. So perception for me as a buyer is I like seeing that. I like seeing those sold. So I don't end and sell similar. I keep it up. Same concept.
I do want to say though, multiple quantity stuff. I wanted to, I guess, reiterate multiple quantity stuff. When I did end and relist everything in my store, I did not do those multiple quantity items or things that I have set up as a, what do you do when you have like different variations of variable listing of different things?
Variation
those
listing.
I did not end and relist those. So that's, I guess, one exception, but one-offs, yeah, all the time.
Yeah, so mine's the same thing. And I have made the mistake of ending and reselling multi-quantity, and I want you guys to be very careful if you're doing that, because it reverts back to the original. I don't know if anybody said this. It reverts back to the original quantity. So if you had 20, you sold 10. If you end and sell similar, it puts your quantity back to 20. And you have to be very, very careful about that, because you'll oversell. And I did that with my boxes I had listed. So honestly, I try not to end and sell similar on my multi-quantities because of that. But I forget, and I have oversold stuff because I've done that. So I would say with multi-quantity, I would not, but with single quantity, I think that you should. I did a little experiment about it for like a month. I was anti end and sell similar for years. And then I did a little experiment. I am open to changing my mind. I am open to trying different things that will help, and I feel that does. So that's my habit. Every single morning, I look at which items are ending that day. If they've been up more than 90 days, I end them and I sell similar, because they're going to end anyways, and I'm going to get charged again later that day. So that's how I do mine, is by whichever ones are ending that day. All right.
Yes.
Sarah sells smalls by the seashore. What is your favorite part of the reselling process, and what is your least favorite?
I think it's probably the same for everybody. Buying's my favorite, listing's my least favorite. Like I have Grams, which makes the listing process pretty painless for me. Like she's a listing machine. But yeah, I like finding the stuff. I don't like just going out and buying for the sake of putting items in the store. I like finding cool items that are interesting. Like when you find a one-off that sells for a few $100s, that's my favorite part. Like the treasure hunt. And my least is definitely listing. I hate listing. It's just necessary evil.
Yeah, definitely the sourcing is my favorite part. In the listing, I think photographing, the photography part is my least favorite part of it. And the aforementioned watcher. There you go. The watchers. That's my least favorite. How about that?
So for me, it's a toss-up. I would say, yes, sourcing is one of my favorite. I love the treasure hunt. I mean, but hearing the cha-ching, because the mystery behind the cha-ching is I get just as much thrill from that as I do from actually finding a cool item, because that's like, I don't care about if it's sold for $5 or sold for $500. Like just the cha-ching, like you pick up your phone, like, okay, what did I sell? Because we all go through that. But you could having a bad day, bad mood, and you hear that across the room, you're gonna run across the room, grab your phone, and look. So that, and then, for me, I truly love reselling. I like the shipping process because I put on music or I put a podcast, it clears my mind. I don't mind listing. I do the same thing. I mean, for me, I guess I would say dealing with difficult customers. I guess that would probably be my least favorite part, and where people don't understand or people don't read. So I'm a big component of not wasting time. And when people send me questions where it's right in the picture or right in the description, I hate that, because I'm just going something that could have been avoided.
See picture 4.
Yeah. So that's probably my biggest pet peeve when it comes to reselling.
And I'm that hard-headed. I don't tell them. I tell them to see picture 4 when it would be easier for me to just type the answer to them.
Me too.
So my favorite is finding the stuff. It's the treasure hunt. It's the thrill of like finding something is worth a ton for super cheap. And I like the treasure hunt. That is by far my favorite part. I'm gonna have to agree with Rod. Like, I love reselling, so there's not much I don't like about it. And there's a disclaimer here. I do have an employee who does the photos and the listing and most of the shipping. So my business is kind of grown into that. So I get to mainly do the finding, which I just told you was my favorite part. But I used to probably still shipping. It's probably still if I had to pick a part of the process, it would be shipping. Yeah. All right. We got a super chat and a member, so I get to play my favorite one for the member. Oh, and I wanted to put up, somebody asked if I got any more work done to my sleeve. I have not. It's healed super nicely though. It looks really good now. And I'm going Friday for 4 more hours of work. So next Tuesday, you will see some more, because I'm getting 4 more hours done on Friday. La, what am I going to give Lala? Here is one, and this is by Gino. If you guys missed the show last week, please check out Gino's finds. He does make the majority of my super chats, and I appreciate him. And here you go.
Kat, you need to read this here. It's a turnoff when you tell people to refer to the pictures, and I agree. I agree to that. I mean, because
I would say 75% I do that.
There's multiple ways to answer that question,
but it's
and you can do it in a more polite way. Better customer service, Kat.
No, I tell them. Well, here's the thing with a lot of things too, and I don't say it in a rude way. I don't want to sound like I do. a lot of things, like especially if you want really specific measurements, I tell them, please see the last 3 photos. They have a tape measure with them. I don't mean it mean, but they might, like, I'm not going to tell them like it's 2.58 inches. You know, I think if they go and view them with the tape measure, they're going to get a more realistic, you know, idea of it. So I'm really not doing it to be rude per se. And a lot of times they'll ask for measurements. I don't know what they want. And I'll say they're, you know, the last 3 photos have photos. So I don't say it rude. I want to make sure I don't it doesn't sound like that, because it's not, but I hate when people don't look. I just had a purse returned off Etsy because it was too small and it had all of the measurements with the tape measure in the photos. So maybe there's the least favorite part is when people don't look at the picture.
Or we have some quality control built into our customer service. Teresa reads the question out loud to me and then curses and says what she wants to say back to the customer. I laugh, and then I think about it for a second. I tell her what to say to the customer. If I reply, I would probably be the same. I would probably say something I shouldn't. So we let her reply to him, but usually she has to vent it to me.
Somebody else reply. Who was it that gave? Oh, I think it was Mike and Mitzi. That said use Chat GPT to reply. And I think that's very smart because it takes the emotion out of it, especially when you're somebody with emotion like I have.
Brandon. This made me laugh.
Did I give the super chat? Did you jack me up?
Yeah, I threw you off. Do your super chat. I don't know if you did or not.
Like, totally. Like,
they're gonna get another super chat. Just give it to him. Give him
right.
Kevin's butt.
No. I want to give this one. I here's this one, and then we'll do the membership. Dun 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 dun. All right, now we need the membership. Where is it? Passionately Collected. If you guys don't know, I have YouTube memberships. They start at $1.99. And for that, you get a store review every month if you want, or you can just hang out. Some people are scared of me. I'm not going to lie, because I say it how it is. I hear the kids coming in here. Dalton can stay up because it's not a school night.
Hello.
Hello. Would you like to come say hello, sir?
Hello.
Hey, Dalton.
Him and Brooke just got back from her friend's house because there's no bedtime because it's hurricane days and he can stay up. Now I forgot what I was saying. Oh, memberships.
Right,
so
I know you're hungry.
Start at $1.99. You get store reviews for $1. Oh, Rod's tower of boxes almost went over there. $9.99. I do live sourcing every other Saturday, so I find stuff in your zip code on auction sites for you. And then the $19.99 includes both of those and live shipping in here every Monday. You will hear my potty mouth on that. That is not censored because it's not monetized. And you'll see me in whatever. It might be pajama pants. It might be workout clothes, whatever. You get it real how it is for that one. So this is absolutely my favoritist here, because if you didn't just see it, I have my tattoo is mainly based on sea turtles. And here you go. Da, 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 da. Camille sent a $2. Okay, since Rod is begging for Kevin's butt.
No, Kevin. Ken deserves to see it. So
okay, here's Kevin's butt. Here you go.
That's something.
Yeah, that's something. All right, that's I would tell you, Corey, my favorite part of this show is when we show that, and then the audience can't see your faces, but I can see your faces, and then watching people's reaction. It's either disgust or they just can't look away. It's like watching a train wreck, and they're like, "Oh my god!" It's just funny every time. So.
All right, Hillbilly Hustles Says, I'm helping my best friend by listing items from their parents' estates. What would you recommend as a fair split in profit? 60-40, 50-50, or different for higher dollar items?
I don't know. For me personally, I don't care if you're my mom. I'm not listing items for you. I mean, that's just a rule we had from the very beginning. I ain't doing it. But if I was going to do it, it would probably be closer to 70-30, and that's after all fees. It's just something we don't do.
Yeah, I kind of nipped that in the bud myself in the very beginning. I had people once they found, and they don't realize the effort that goes into it, and they think, oh, the item sold for $50, I'm getting $25, and all the fees and everything is taken out, the taxes and all of that, and they get, $10-12, and then you're upset with you about it. So if I were to do it, though, it would be probably closer to that 60-40 after fees, but I'm not going to worry about that because I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, there's a lot to take in. I have done it in the past, and just like Corey, I nipped it in the bud. It's one of those things where when you're selling other people's stuff, you have to store those items. You don't want them to ship them because that's your account. So they ship it bad. You got to do the shipping. You got to do the storing. We did have the consignment chats on here a couple months back, and what they do is they take the items in. They do, I think, a 60-40 split, and then after 90 days, the item doesn't sell. That becomes their property. So that's the only way that they do it. So, and I actually think it's a good idea because if people give you items that have a slow sell-through rate, I mean, you don't want to just keep putting those items in your store. And then what I got to do? I got to pay you, 12 months from now and track you down to give you your money. No. So I like the time frame. So if you're going to do it, I'll put in a time frame. I really like that concept. I think it's good. Moving forward, if I did any type of consignment, it would have to be high dollar items. We're talking a couple $100 per item to make it worth my while and make it worth the person's, just like, because like you were just saying, Ken, give them someone a payout for $12 for an item that's not worth my time or their time. So for me, it would have to be high dollar items only if I did do it.
Yeah, so for me, I've always said this, I would have to have $500 higher items for me to do this personally. I would not want to list other stuff. I have done lower, actually, with one of my employees who she was listing it, so I didn't have to put that time into it. And then we did a 50-50 split after profits. And I think 50-50 for me would be fair after profits, after fees. I think 50-50 would be fair for me, but I would not change it for the higher dollar items at all. I'm not going to take a lower percent. I would keep it at the 50-50, and I would only do it for higher dollar items. What is a polite way to turn them down? Yeah, I mean, if you just tell people that's not your business model, I will offer to buy the items. If it's something that I would want to sell, I tell them, look, I don't do consignment in my business, but if you are willing to sell them, I can give you X amount for them, or I can maybe refer you to somebody that, that does consignment.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to do that, because if it's something that you would want to sell, why not just buy it directly from them? If it's something that you're not interested in selling yourself, tell them, be honest. Like, hey, this is not something I'll be interested in my store. It doesn't fit with my store or something down those lines. But that's what I tell people. And I really explain the process. Like, if I take these items and consign them for you, you might get $50 here, $50 there. That's not something I want to do. So it'd be better for me and better for you if I would just pay you a flat fee. You can get all the money up front. You don't have to do any of the work. You can walk away from the items. I'll take on the responsibility. That's better for me in the way I run my business. And that's the best way I explain it to people. And once you just talk to them and explain them, because a lot of people just see the process. They're just putting an item online. That's it. Like Facebook Marketplace, throw it up there, then quick, someone just comes, picks it up. That's not the reality of it, though.
There's a lot of liability in it, too. I mean, You're taking those items, you're storing them. If I wanted to burn my shop down and get out of eBay tomorrow, I could. But if I'm consigning a bunch of people's stuff, then I'm stuck with it. I have to keep doing
Is that an option, Corey? I mean, yeah, I don't have enough time to list the stuff that I acquire myself, let alone take on. I suppose if I was hurting for inventory, or, maybe if I was just starting out or something like that, and I needed to build that store and those items, there's a possibility. But I have so much now. I'm not going to take half of the profit or less than half sometimes to work for somebody else.
So now we got a follow-up question to a follow-up question. So what would you do, Kat, if you want to sell if they want to sell
I like
inventory?
to buy it 10 to 20% of what I'm going to sell it for.
Yeah,
And
I
I
wouldn't pay any
tell
more than I
people,
would at a
like,
garage
I'm
sale.
sorry. Like, this is what I would pay. And, you know, like, I know it's a low ball. So a lot of people that message me, like, I tell them, like, look, I only pay 10 to 20%. So maybe you want to do this another way with somebody else. That's my business. So, I mean, I'm not negative about it. I'm very forthcoming. I'm very outright. And that's my buy cost typically is 10 to 20%. I might go higher if it's like $500 items. I'll go 30, 40% if I'm going to make a couple $100. But I'm not going to overall pay that. That would be me cherry picking really high dollar items.
Yeah, whatever you would normally pay. I mean, we pay up on some things. If they're worth it and they're going to sell fast, I'll pay up. I'll pay 50% on some things, but I will pay them what I would normally pay. That's what I would do.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, yard sale prices, thrift store prices, wherever I'm sourcing items of that that's what I'm going to offer them, and then they can take it. I also offer my knowledge to people. Hey,
No,
if you want to sell it on eBay, I will be more than happy to help you. I can show you how to list it. I can give you shipping advice, photograph advice. But I'm not going to sell, and then you get all of the profits. But or offer to buy it outright. I think that's what I would do a lot.
So I do buy a lot of collections out from people, and I try to be around the 20 to 30% on when I do buy a collection. Now, if I'm buying out like a video game collection, I will pay all the way up to like 70% because those are going to be quick, fast movers if they're high-end games. And I know, like, if they know they have because that's what there's some game shops that will pay anywhere from 50 to 70% if it's you're dealing like Pokemon games or something that you put online is going to sell within a couple of days. So it just depends on the item, but I think one of the biggest things is I like to use the 80-20 rule when I do buy a collection. So if I am buying, let's just say I'm paying $1,000 for this collection, I need to get 80% of my money back from 20% of those items right off the bat. So that's the biggest thing. So when you do buy a collection, if you're spending $1,000 and say you get 100 items, well, you don't want $110 items. If I'm buying 100 items, I want 2 or 3 items that's going to get back $300, $400, $500, $600 of my money back because cash flow is the most important thing in this business. You have to have that money coming in and going out. So if you do put all that money out, you don't want to sit there and keep that inventory and keep that money just on your shelf because what happens if that big collection comes in, a month from now? Now all your money's tied up on items
And
that are
you
going to be
don't
super
have
slow.
that money.
You don't have that
Yeah.
money. So that's one of the biggest mistakes I think a lot of new resellers make. You want to make sure that you keep the cash flow going. So if you do buy a collection, try to be whatever like Corey said, wherever you would normally pay at garage sales, I try to be at 20, 30%. And then I try to use the 80-20 rule off that collection I buy. So get back a big portion of my money from a small portion of those items so that I can rinse and repeat and just over and over again.
All right. This is a two-parter, so you guys have to listen. I have huge boxes of car dealership books for new cars from the 40s and 50s all the way through the 80s. Also, tons of hot rods, muscle car books. They were all stored in a musty basement before I acquired them. I can't get the smell out no matter what we do. Any ideas?
Get them to a dry space, find a small room somewhere and run the ozone machine on them. That's what I would try. Short of that, that's tough. I mean, it's paper. So over the years, it's going to take in that smell. It's going to take in the smell no matter where it's at. But I think I would try the ozone machine. I don't know what I would even try after that, honestly.
Yeah, I agreed. Ozone, I see it coming up there in the chat. Gina and Aaron, ozone machine, I have one as well. It does a really great job. I also do, I don't know if it works on paper sort of stuff, but I also use the old freezer trick. Got a freezer out in the garage. I just put stuff in there. It helps take out smells. Yeah, if you acquired all of those magazines and you don't want to give them away or just, get rid of them, yeah, ozone, but I probably wouldn't take them in the first place if I knew that they were going to be an issue, something that sits around. I need That one saying I say is profits and not projects. I don't need to spend my time trying to get smells out of old magazines unless they're, I don't know the value of these. If they're good, high value and they're worth that effort, but if you're going to get a couple of bucks a piece, I don't know. You have a fireplace?
I don't think I've ever sold a book or bought books that didn't have a distinct smell to them. Especially if you're doing stuff in the early 1900s, you're doing stuff in the 1800s, you're doing stuff from 30, 40. It's going to have, because over time the paper does oxidize and it does have like a distinct smell to it. So I think that's kind of common. If people are buying those magazines, I think there's going to be some type of smell associated with them. I think that's just part of the game. I wouldn't put them outside, because some people in the chat, but put them outside because when they are doing magazine paper,
and it'll make them weak.
It's going to, the sun can actually, the paper can become very fragile. You got to be very careful of that. I would throw them in a tub with some dryer sheets. That does help. Put them in there for like a week or two. And I've done that with like clothes that have like cigarette smoke on them and other things. But you just got to be really careful when it comes to paper, when it comes to the elements outside, because if you have a big breeze come by, that can ruin it. You have the sun beating down on it, other things. I've sold a ton of magazines that have a musty smell to them. I never had an issue with it. That's just part of it because they're old. They're from the 40s and 50s. Like, that's part of the game.
The car manuals always smell like oil and garage.
Correct. Because
I would just notate it. Like, just notate it.
I wouldn't, because like Corey said, that's something you're accustomed to. If you ever saw any type of car manual,
you wouldn't notate it? You would just do it?
No.
Okay.
Because like Corey said, is those books sit in the garage where people are putting, you'll have like oil, you'll have like grease on them sometimes, little marks on them, but like that's just part of it when you go to sell them, because people are used to keep them in the shop.
All right.
That's a good question.
Yeah. It was a good question. Here's my good friend Elena, another great channel for you guys to check out. She's very, very new. She's one of my friends I go thrifting with, Elena at Treasure Diva Thrifts. She said, when listing on LP using the Express Lister and putting your pictures to the computer, how do you put them in order? The first ones I picked don't port first. So I would, if you're having a problem with that, I don't have it goes in order of what I pick when I do it. I haven't had that issue. What I would do is, if you have more than 5, just upload the 5 you want AI Lister to analyze first, and then add the rest of them. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I couldn't even answer that one.
Yeah. I figured that's why I grabbed it. All right, Miss Marcia. Listen, I'm harping on it, but these are good channels. These are my friends. They go shopping with me all the time. Marcia and Elena and I go together all the time. So Red Cardinal Treasures, and Marcia's in here modding for me every single week for years, guys. Yes. Please go follow her channel, show her some support. She does so much for me. I would greatly appreciate it. And you probably get to see me shopping, because a lot of times I'm with her. So you get to see the other end of the camera there. So Marcia wants to know, what is the difference between doing a 15% off sale or offering a 15% off coupon?
That's another good question. I can't say for sure. We've had way more luck using the sales, the 15% off sale, than we have with the coupons. We use coupons in different ways. When we put the thank you cards in the boxes and things like that, we have a return customer coupon that we use. We have good luck with that. But in general, we've had way more luck with sales than coupons, but I don't know the science behind it. I don't know why. So I really can't give an educated answer on why.
Yeah, agreed. I'm going to do more of that sale. I have experimented with different coupon options, and putting that code in, and it seems like I'm just always, the people are going to see that discounted price on that 15% off sale kind of immediately without using the coupon. So I don't know if there's any differences in the amount that you get or that they save or whatever. It's 15%. I would assume so, but yeah, I'm gonna do the sale on that. So
I used to work in the bar and nightclub industry, and it's all about perception. I'll give you an example. If there's 2 bars right next to each other and one was serving drinks for $8 for a rum and coke and the bar next door is serving buy one, get one free, which bar are you going to go to? The one that you can get 2 for the price of 1. Even though they're pouring the same amount of liquor in those 2 cups as the bar next door. It's the same exact thing. So even though the coupon and the sale are the same, you're still getting 15% off. The perception when people go to your store and they see that the line crossed through it and you get 15% off compared to having put in a coupon to use a coupon for it, there's a big difference. So when you go to someone's store, right away you can visually see it's 15% off. So I think the perception is going to help you get more sales with an actual sale than an actual coupon.
I agree with Rod. I think the sale is definitely going to get you more sales. And what I actually have been doing both. I run the sale and then I run a smaller % off coupon because from what I've seen, over half the people don't use it. They have to type in the code and they don't. So I think having the coupon there probably helps me get boosted in the algorithm, and most of them don't use it. So I actually have been doing both is what I've been doing. We have 2 super chats. Squirrely Reseller said, praying y'all are okay during the hurricane. Cat and Rod, we did forget to let our guests know they have to drink every time Kevin's on screen, but I don't know if they drink, so I don't want to force alcohol on anybody.
I don't think either of us do. I got my Pepsi though.
They'll take a drink of their drink. Yeah, we're not forcing alcoholism here. I'm drinking water as well.
Water, sparkling water.
Coke Zero.
Mine is grape electrolyte water. Okay. Let me give her, what should we do? I want to do the beach. I want to do the beach. Here you go. I can tell you it is 9/11 when Mark comes into the room. His super chat is exactly at 9/11.
Almost a T, like every week. Like
it is. He's here at like 9/11 every week. So Mark always wants Rod. So we will give Mark Rod's super chat. Here you go.
Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Until next time.
All right. Let me see what we have got going on. Okay. Karen with the C. What is your setup for these live chats? What kind of mic do you use, and are you using a laptop camera?
I use just a cheap Yeti microphone, and we have I don't even know what it is, Logi camera that we put on. The laptop camera wasn't doing it, so we bought a cheap mic or a cheap webcam. So nothing expensive.
Yeah, I'm also using a Yeti Blue. That one right there, Yeti Blue microphone, and I have a Logitech webcam mounted on top of my computer monitor. Got a couple of LED lights on either side for lighting, and wireless earbuds for the sound. Seems to work out.
Yeah, I use a Blue Yeti as well, a microphone. You guys can get those for like around $100, and then you guys can get like a really good just webcam for $100 to $150. That's all you would really need if you don't want to use your laptop cameras.
So I don't have a mic. I used to have a clip-on mic that I used when I did like showing the items and holding them up. I use a Sony ZV-1, which is what Jocelyn Crazy Lamp Lady uses, and it's pretty expensive. It was when I got it about an $800 camera, but it is a vlogging camera, so it has an excellent mic. And it's just very, very good. And then I have to use a dummy battery to use it as a webcam. And yeah, but I will tell you guys, I did not buy this camera until YouTube paid for it. Okay. I did not buy this out of pocket. I used my phone to go live for my podcast for a very, very long time. And until I was making enough money on YouTube to pay for this nice camera, I got by with my phone for over a year. So you don't need anything special. You don't even need a mic. You need a phone, and you can roll, or a laptop. Phone or laptop, you would be fine. And yeah, so my advice, especially if you're doing YouTube, would be not to put money into it until it's making you money. That's what I did. As my channel started making
send all
more
this
money.
stuff back. Is that what
Yeah.
you're saying?
Yes, you should.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
I mean, if you
That's
have
the
the
read between the
extra
lines,
money,
Ken.
that's fine. But I don't think that there's a correlation with having the better equipment and making more money on YouTube. There are channels that are
Yes.
multi-million subscribers that only use their phone. So I don't think having that better equipment is not necessarily going to grow your YouTube. And I think a lot of people might think it will, but I do not think that's the case. I think you can grow to 1 million subscribers with your phone, with good content. Good luck on YouTube. And yeah, Marcia says you can send it to her.
The sound and video on the
the
iPhone
original
is
shot
amazing.
taker that started the alcoholism in the chat joined my membership. Thank you, my friend. Here
Kat, they just posted that they expect us to get 60 to 70-mile winds across the Tampa Bay area.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a lot higher for me. I got this. I got this. All right. All right. Here's your turtle. Da, 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 da. Gino, where are you at? Did you fall asleep? All right. Julie says, do you think all of the live selling platforms have impacted eBay sales and the reselling community as a whole?
Yeah, I think so. Well, with eBay, as far as eBay sales, I really don't know. We've only been doing eBay for about 3 years. And our sales have just gone up since we started. I mean, our business is still growing. We're not doing anywhere close to what we could be doing on eBay yet. So we haven't seen any slowdown at all. Has it affected the community as a whole? Certainly. I mean, I see a pretty big divide in the community where people are doing live streaming or people are doing eBay or other things. So I think without question it has I would say it expanded the community, if anything. I don't think it really, for a while there was a bit of a divide, but I think it's more just two camps growing in different directions.
Yeah, I would kind of agree with that. The live selling, have they impacted eBay sales? They've impacted my eBay sales just because I am now been selling on the Whatnot platform, and I'm bringing different items, things that I may or may have not have listed on eBay over to there. It's not affecting my sales. eBay is just a huge juggernaut. And, you know, as much as you see all of these other live platforms, you see Whatnot and stuff because people are pitching it on their YouTube channels. And so you see it more, but I think the overwhelming opportunities are with eBay, but they're great platforms, whether it's the District or Whatnot that are the live selling platforms. So I don't know if it's impacted eBay sales because people are not going to, if you're looking for something, you're looking to, you know, buy this kazoo right here. You're not gonna go sit around and wait for somebody to run a kazoo on Whatnot or District. But you're gonna go out to eBay and search for a kazoo, and you're gonna find it on there, and you're gonna buy it. So I don't know if it has. I know it's impacted my personal sales, though.
Do I think live selling platforms have impacted eBay sales? I think eBay has impacted eBay sales because me and Kat have both signed up to sell live on eBay almost 2 years ago.
Well over a year.
There's been no movement on that. The problem with eBay is eBay's website is very, very antiquated. Nothing has changed since I started selling in 1999. I've been on this platform since 1999, and they're slow. They've been very slow to change anything. They've been very slow to, granted, now they have a huge they have a huge base of customers. They have 130 or 140 million people that use this platform, compared to a fraction of what Macari and Poshmark and whatnot and everyone else does. But at the same point in time is they're so slow to move and change with everyone else is. These platforms are spending money on advertising to get new buyers to come there. That's something eBay needs to do more of. That's my biggest take on eBay. I think eBay needs to do more to bring new customers to the platform, new buyers. And these other platforms did, I sell on Dibbit. I also sell on Commons. I sell on, whatnot. And I've done lives, and they allow me to reach a different audience and to move merchandise fast. So yes, those have impacted my eBay business. I have moved items. I've purchased differently. I bought stuff that I wouldn't have purchased before, but now I can sell on a live platform. I have decided what I'm going to put on eBay and what I'm not going to put on eBay now, because I can sell on these other platforms. So yes, they have a slightly, but I think it's eBay's fault, because just imagine if you guys can go in your eBay store and you have 5,000 items in your eBay store, and you click one button and move that to a live auction, and you can be on camera selling that item, there would be no Whatnot. There would be no Dibbit. There would be no these other selling platforms, because eBay had the chance to have that marketplace. Yes. eBay Live has been rolled out for 3 years now, and eBay has not done anything with it. So eBay has impacted eBay, not these other reselling programs. eBay has.
That's a great way to put it. Yes.
But do you think? I think the spirit of the question is: do you think they've taken eBay? I guess. Do you think they've taken any of the pie away from eBay? Their market share. I think eBay's still doing just fine.
Yes, but I mean, eBay, yes. Have they taken a little market share to eBay? Yes, but it's very small. I mean, Whatnot's a fraction of what, I mean, if you click on Whatnot right now, I think the biggest category there is going to be sports cards, and you may have 5,000 or 6,000 people watching shows, compared to if I go on eBay, you're going to have hundreds of thousands of people scrolling through looking for things. So the fraction of amount of people on these live selling programs is going to be very few and far between compared to what the reach eBay has. Yeah, so I mean, yes, they have impacted those. They just give us other options to sell. So I rather take the quick, don't with the fast nickel or slow. Fast nickel or slow dime. That's the concept you're working with these selling platforms. So before, I ran my business for 15, 20 years on, the slow dime. Now I have the option to quick move items, and so I'm sourcing differently. So I may be buying stuff I didn't buy before. But also at the same point in time is, yes, they have. I mean, I've shifted my business where a portion of my sales, I would say 20, probably look at my tax. I'm doing my taxes right now. So part of my stuff is I'm probably like, I think I sold $20,000 on Whatnot last year, for a portion of Whatnot. Like, I mean, that's not a lot, but I mean, at the same point in time is that's $20,000 I could have won on eBay or another platform.
Or you still could be sitting on those items.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
so
definitely.
To answer the direct question.
Sorry, I went on a rant.
No, you're fine. But I think if they have had any impact on eBay sales, it's very minimal, because I think your typical Whatnot buyer is not your typical eBay buyer. Like Ken was saying, somebody's not going to wait for you to sell a kazoo on Whatnot. They're going to go to eBay and buy a friggin' kazoo. So I don't think, as far as the reselling community, I think it has changed how we sell. I haven't done live selling in months. I am again, and I know, Aaron, are you in here? Will you share my district again, my knickknacks to follow me, if you don't mind? We do have everything organized. Shannon has all, listen, I'm going to tell on myself. I'm going to tell on myself right now. And I'll tell you why. Don't cry though. Don't cry. So I think a lot of you know, before Dalton, we lost a few babies. And I had to deliver one of them. He had already passed. And I put his box and his blanket. I said that, and then I'm going to make myself cry. I put his box and his blanket in my closet. And that was over 6 years ago. It was before Dalton. And I never wanted to go in that closet again. And that closet, the door got opened and stuff got thrown in there to the tune. It's a 10 by 10 closet of 3 feet on the floor. And Shannon today found my floor. And she put the baby stuff in a really nice box for me, because that was in there. But that like I had listed items and seriously like just threw. And so if something sold, I'm in here literally 3 feet deep. I'm digging, trying to find the blanket that sold. And so Shannon has been really helping me organize my house, declutter. And so now I can see my closet floor. And yeah, so that is not, I don't even know why I said that, but yeah, so it's nice to have that. And like, so, oh, I do know why. So my whatnot room is also OCD organized by rings, bracelets, necklaces. And so now I'll be able, I call it the whatnot room, but we're probably going to go back on district on knickknacks before we do on whatnot. And I'm going to blow stuff out, guys. $1, $2. I'm going to blow it out. And I have so much jewelry, and she found so much sterling. Like there's thousands and thousands of dollars in that room. And I had it such a mess that I didn't have any idea what I had. So if I don't know if Shannon's still watching, she was watching earlier, but special thank you to Shannon for helping me organize. She's done it professionally before, and get everything where we will be back to live selling very, very soon.
I just want to add one thing. So just give you guys an example, like, you guys know that I bought these massive Disney pin collections, and I bought those. I've been selling those here for so long. And I was telling backstage before we started the show, I was telling them tonight I did a whatnot. So I bought those Disney pins at the end of last year, and then I bought some more in January this year. So I've had these pin sets sitting in my store, probably like $3,000 probably worth of like pin sets sitting in my store, and they just haven't sold. And I've been discounting them. They've been sitting there. So it's 6 months, 7 months, 8 months later, I said, you know what? I'm going to do a whatnot tonight. A Mega One promoted it, and I sold, and I did that. Like, I don't know how many items I ended up selling. I sold all those pin sets I put up there, and I got $1,238.99 for the items I sold.
Nice.
So the point I'm getting at is, you know, these sat in my eBay store for 6, 7, 8 months without any sales. I mean, I sold a couple here and there, but these are things I had money invested in. They would sat on eBay for a long time, and I just would have kept discounting over time. But because of the option of live selling, eBay lost us $3,000 I would have got on eBay, and I was able to get $1,200 on whatnot for those items. So there is a small impact, I would say. It just depends on the situation and how we do. But it's nice to have we do try to sell stuff on eBay, and it's nice to have an alternative to try to blow stuff out.
It gives us, a lot more options. Yeah. It definitely has opened doors for us. I haven't done that much this year, but in 2023 and 2022, I sold over $250,000 on whatnot. Yeah. Now that's not profit. I had to spend a lot. The profit margin is very low. And I haven't done it this year. Thank you, Aaron. Aaron shared my knickknacks. So that's where you guys will find me. All right. Carol, first I wanted to say thank you for being a member. I greatly, greatly appreciate you. And she wants to know, do you pass your shipping discount on to the customer?
We pass a percentage on. We don't pass the whole thing on. We have boxes to take care of. They charge you fees on your shipping, so you got to take care of that. They charge you taxes on your shipping, so you got to take care of that. So we pass on our discount at a custom percentage. And right now, I think we pass on all but 5 or 6% or something like that, just to cover ourselves. But yeah, I guess we do, just not all of it.
Yeah, actually, on the podcast, Corey and I did a whole episode, or maybe even covered this a couple of times, because it seems like a really good idea to pass along your shipping discount to the customer. Hey, I'm going to get more sales from that, until you really do the numbers and you really look at it and find out that you are losing money on every single sale by passing along your full discount. And so that's why I do the same thing that Corey is doing with passing along a percentage of your shipping discount. That way the customer gets a little bit of discount. You still make a little bit to cover some of those extra costs, the boxes and things, if you're not figuring that into the price of your items. But if everybody runs their business different, but the smart thing is to not pass along the whole discount.
We went way in the weeds on that on one episode. Those numbers got pretty big over time. over the course of a year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're a high volume seller, that's going to.
How do you do that? Do you have a video on that? I need to know how to do that.
How to do what?
I don't have a video for the setup.
Discount.
Yeah, it's in the shipping preferences. It's just actually a couple of toggles. I'll try to look it up here real quick, but it's just in the
Yeah, because I really need to
preferences
do that because we are passing it, but I would like to do it, you know, I would like to do it how you guys are doing.
Yeah. So for those that don't know what we're referring to, if you go to the post office is going to charge you an X amount of dollars to ship an item. If you buy your labels through eBay gives you up to like a 23 or 25% discount sometimes, depending on what it is, because eBay has a bulk shipping rate with the postal service. So what we're saying is you have the option. eBay changed their settings a while back where the buyer, you can, charge the buyer the discounted rate or charge them the regular shipping rate. So if you charge them the regular shipping rate, which a lot of people did, you would sometimes have a surplus of money once you ship the item. But we do get charged, like Corey was saying, is eBay does charge you taxes on not just the item, but also the shipping that you take in. Because back in the day, when you used to sell an item, people used to list an item for $1, pay fees on just the item, and didn't pay fees on shipping. So then the shipping charge would be $50. So because people ruined it for everyone, eBay changed the policy where now you get charged fees on the item price and the shipping. So I don't pass my shipping savings on to my customers unless they buy multiple items from me, just for the fact that I am paying for boxes. I'm getting charged taxes on that. And, it's cost of doing business. They have a set price what they're buying the item at. That's how I kind of run mine. But how much of a discount are you two providing to your guests, though?
I was just looking that up. Kat, it is under under your account settings, like the shipping preferences.
Okay, I'm writing it down.
Down near the bottom, you got your shipping settings, like exclude shipping locations and such. Allow combined payments. Second up from the bottom is shipping discount settings, and then you can edit that custom discount rate. And it's just basically.
So what do you guys have your custom discount rate at?
I have mine at 5%.
5 is where we played with it. We set it at 10 for a while.
So you give them 5%? Is that what that means?
It's the opposite of that. It means you're giving them the whole discount minus 5% of the discount.
Okay.
So you're holding back 5% of the way it actually works.
Okay.
We ran it at 10% for a while, and you're still losing money at 10%. We had to play with it for a while to get it at that point.
Okay. No, that makes sense for sure. Yeah, I might even change that tonight.
Did I say that right, Ken?
Yeah. The custom discounted rates offer buyers a custom percentage off standard carrier rates. You're required to pay for the amount discounted. So, if you the standard rates without discount, offer buyer standard carrier rates without any discount, and then you can offer eBay discounted rates. So if you did the full eBay discounted rates, you're going to give the buyer your full discount. So if
eBay discounted rate, custom discounted rate, and it says select % off.
We do 5.
So I just put 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we ran it at 10 for a while, and then every day we would ship, we would look at what we charged for shipping, for as far as what we passed on, and then what we actually got charged when we shipped it out, and compare those. And we were still a little bit in the red, so we moved it to 5, and that's about where we were breaking pretty close to even. So
what's going on, Art? Art wants to see Kevin's butt. Okay.
He's never seen it before. He doesn't know about it.
Here you go. Kevin was just on the show a few weeks ago, if you don't know, too. That was a very comedic episode, I will say, as was the one with Tim over the years. Both of those were like absolutely ridiculous. We laughed the whole night. They were like off they were off the rails. Off
Uh,
the rails.
I want to address something. Pre-loved bargains ask, isn't that on calculated only? Yes, that is only the
Yeah, and I
percentage
do
off
all
is only on calculated, and because I do a combination of like a flat rate on items less than £1. I do it by the categories: 4, 8, 12, £1, and then anything calculated, I'm offering the discount for.
Quit picking on me, Kevin. Commonwealth Flipper Picker Garage Sale Nation man. Dip.
Mr. Bonanza. You know, he does own Bonanza.
He owns Bonanza. All right. Miss Lisa Beachwalker sent a $5 super chat and said, if I change to give the buyer a partial discounted rate now, does it only affect my listings after I change it? I believe it changes it as of now on everything, right, guys?
On all calculated, it changes it.
Globally, because it's an account preference
Mm-hmm.
and not an item specific preference.
That's the way I understand it.
Okay, yeah, that's how I would take it as well. All right. Did I do this one? No. Hillbilly Hustles. After 3 years on eBay, I started on Poshmark. Decent sales so far, although I did mess up on an 8-pound item. Live and learn. Question, should I be following my followers?
I can't tell you anything about Poshmark. We haven't done anything over there, really.
Yeah, same here. I'm not a Poshmark guy.
I have no idea. I just cross this with the Poshmark and this and forget. So it's up to you, Kat.
You know,
So
hold on,
8
Kat,
pounds will cost you like $15 for the label for one. That's why they're saying they messed up. If it's over 5 pounds on Poshmark, you're going to pay. Go ahead, Ken.
I was going to say, I think I'm not a Poshmark guy because of the second part of that question, or the question, should I be following my followers? I don't, it seemed, I've never really looked into Poshmark because it seems if I got to follow followers and I got to share my closet and all of this stuff, it just seems like more work and effort. And I know that there are softwares and things like that that'll automatically share your thing, but it just seemed like a platform that was a lot of extra work.
So I have a program that follows people for me. I personally don't think it's worth the time to do any of your own sharing, to do any of your own following. I don't send any of my own offers. So I use List Perfectly, has a Poshmark sharing tool. I use that. I use One Shop to follow and to send offers. Hopefully List Perfectly is going to have that option soon, and then I won't need my One Shop. But for the $30 a month I pay, I get a ton of sales on offers that are automatically sent on my behalf. I tell it I want to send 20% off. I do or don't want discounted shipping, and it's worth the $30. If anybody wants that link, I don't like, I get a discount off, you get a discount off. And yeah, so but personally, I do not recommend spending your time on that. If you want to do that, pay for an app to do it. It is not worth your time to do that. That would be my answer. Mischievous Mariposa. To the Nurse Flipper. I remember at some point you said we can use any USPS box to ship for Posh. Could you explain that a bit more? Yes. There is one category on Poshmark that you cannot use priority boxes for, and that is electronics. And that's because a lot of them have lithium batteries. So Poshmark electronics category goes ground. So if it's not in the electronics category, you can use, like, these are one of our favorites, especially for clothes. Like, I'll put a 3-ounce handkerchief in a padded flat rate envelope if it's sold on Poshmark. And you can see, well, Rod's boxes are in the way. They're not Rod's anymore. I bought them. They're mine now. But we have a ton of priority boxes there. They're free. You order them on USPS.com, and anything on Poshmark except electronics can be shipped in any USPS priority box.
Oh, priority mail. Yeah, make sure you say priority mail, because don't use the express box, because that will get you in trouble. That's the overnight box.
Okay, priority.
Yeah.
Dumpster Diving Duck is asking, did I adjust my shipping timer just hoping for the best? Did you miss my short? You missed my short on Instagram. We shipped using a generator last time with no power. You are not, I'm like the mail service. It like rain, sleet, snow, hail, hurricane, I'm still shipping out. If it's not underwater, we were shipping in 50-mile-an-hour winds last time with a generator. So I have not changed my shipping times. I will figure it out. I'm very hard-headed if you guys have not figured that out about me yet. Reseller says, how does List Perfectly AI Lister? Does it really work if I take a photo? So this is, I'm going to answer this again since we know it's me using it. You take 5 photos, take a picture of the tag, take a picture of any measurements, and AI will read the size, it'll read the garment care, it'll read everything, it'll make your title, it'll make your description, and it's ready to go. So the answer to that is yes, but I wouldn't just take one photo. That's probably not going to give you good results. You need to take good photos that show AI the information that it needs to pick up. So you need to show the tag, you need to show the front, you need to show the back. And yes, it makes very good listings. That is all that I have used for about 2 months now to make my listing. No more sell similar. We create them from scratch from AI Lister. And I'll do another live listing probably sometime soon after the hurricane passes. I'll hang out with you guys and do some listings. If you missed it, there's one up. I hung out for about 2 hours and did it. And I'm going to try and do it like once a month so you guys can see how that works. Tammy says she sold directly to a buyer in the UK. When going to ship, options are first class international or eBay standard international. If I pick eBay international, does that mean I'm opting in for global shipping? I'll make $20 if I ship it directly.
That's a good question. I don't know. We're actually enrolled in the eBay international program. So when it shows us we sold internationally, it just tells me to ship it to Illinois. So I'm not even sure on this. If you're not enrolled in eBay International, though, I would just do that. For this one, it's too late.
Yeah, I'm the same with Corey there. It just wherever it's shipping in the world, I just ship it to Illinois, and that's about it. Enrolled in the program, I don't have to make any other choices over that.
Yeah, so the best thing about that is the buyer actually, well, the buyer, not for the buyer side, but the buyer pays 2 shipping fees, one domestically and one international. But once you ship the item domestically to the shipping hub, you are wipe your hands of it, because if that item gets stuck in customs, the item gets damaged, you have any type of issue, eBay will step in and handle that item for you. So I would say, unfortunately, you're just going to take care of that one directly. Sometimes you can ship for a cheaper shipping rate for international on Pirate Ship. So you might want to go on Pirate Ship if you have an account and see, you can actually import your eBay listing in there, just that one listing, and you can look at the different international options on there. But I mean, that's what I would do to see if you can actually get something shipped directly or even cheaper.
Yeah, I don't know if it means you're opting in, but I agree with everybody and I would opt in. It just makes your life a whole bunch easier. And my good friend Tommy Buffalo Picker is in the house. Tommy has been on our podcast. I've also been on his. He has a great podcast as well, guys. He sent a $9.99 super chat. Let's see what I have not. What have I not? Here is Dalton, very little and cute.
I'm Dalton.
So little. They grow up so fast. Thank you, Tommy. I appreciate you. Cindy says, I had a potential customer asking about 2 items I have in my store. I was unable to find one of the items on my laptop, my cell, and my husband's cell. It doesn't show. So the customer's asking about items, but she's saying she can't find the second item.
Don't they usually have a link to the item in the question when they ask, or are they just sending from one? I guess it's, yeah, I don't know what to say there to that one. That one's kind of weird. I've never had that happen. I have lost items before. I mean, that does happen, but if somebody's asking about one, they could just be confused and think it's both on your store too.
Yeah. I've not had that actually happen. I have had people send me questions or send me offers, or where they're sending multiple offers to like items, and they get confused with who they're sending the question to. And so I would probably chalk it up to that. If it's not, maybe if you did have that item listed and you can't find it, that's a little odd. But I think that's the buyer being confused with who they're messaging.
Yep. Ask them to send you a link.
Yeah, what I would do is ask the buyer to send you the item numbers, because in each eBay listing there's an item number. They can just copy that and send it directly to you. Then that way you can just search the item number. You're able to pull the item right up. But I agree with these two. I think the buyer might just be confused. I've had many buyers reach out to me and ask me questions, or maybe they added a bunch of items to their watch list. They look at the similar items, or I've had buyers reach out to me about items that I have in my store that they thought they bought because they bought it from another buyer. And I've had that happen too. But on the reverse side of things, though, there's many times I've gone through my inventory and looked, and I've had items that I thought were listed on eBay are no longer listed on eBay. Mm-hmm. So if you are ending and selling similar, a very common mistake, people may get distracted or not actually relist the item, or if the item has sold and the buyer canceled the item and then you didn't relist it, that has also happened a lot. So just I would just reach out to the buyer, ask them to send you the item number of each item, and then that way you can search it.
Yeah, I would ask them to message me on that item. I would say, hey, can you send me a message on the other item? I'm not seeing it. I feel like sometimes people see other people's items and think it's in your store, and it's not in your store. You know? I've had people swear they bought multiple from me, and I'm like, you only bought one. Like, they want a shipping discount, and I'm like, you only bought one item. Maybe because they like put it all in their cart together. You know, they think like eBay is like Amazon, which it's especially fulfilled by seller, it's not going to be. But yeah. Miss Doreen wants to know, what is the best way to research an item when you can't find anything on Google?
Has that ever happened? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, usually if you can't find it on Google, I would start just trying keywords. Just explain to Google what it is the best you can. I mean, that's really, if you can't find it on Google, that'd be pretty odd. That really doesn't happen much. Image search on Google. Try your image search on eBay as well. You might be surprised. Theirs is actually getting a little better. Beyond that, I would say just try and explain it in a Google search the best you can.
Yeah. Find another buyer that sells those kind of like, or not another seller that sells those kind of like items. Maybe reach out to them and, say, I have this. I see you sell those similar items. Can you, weigh in on this, or at least give me a spot to start, someplace that I can search or jump in. But I've never been completely stumped just going through Google, finding something somewhere for
the reseller community
item.
is pretty helpful too. If you post it in some of the groups, like people that specialize really like to share their knowledge.
Yeah, I would say it's very, very rare that I ever find an item I can't find a comp for. WorthPoint, you can go back 10 years. So I do have a WorthPoint account. Therapy can go back 3 years. And if you can't find that one, what I would do is I find an item. I look for items that are similar or something that would, very likely like that item would be. But at the end of the day, if I can't find anything, what I do is I just price it super high with best offer and let the market dictate the price. And then that way, if I'm not getting watchers, I'm not getting views, or I'm not getting questions on the item, then over time, I just slowly drop that price down until I find where I'm starting to get some type of action from either watchers or messages or offers.
Look at Mark coming in clutch here. That is my answer. I would use WorthPoint. I get a lot of one-off rare items, and WorthPoint has a 10-year history. eBay now has a 3-year history free, so you can also use eBay's Terapeak for 3 years for free. But WorthPoint has 10 years. I like WorthPoint because you can see trends. You can sort it by most recent sold. You can sort it by best match. And with WorthPoint, and my experience, if you make one good sale, it will pay for the whole year. I sold an ashtray for $350 that I otherwise would have priced at like $15. Okay. And there was only one sold in 10 years, and it sold for over 300, and mine sold for 350. So if you find those one-off items that you're running into that repeatedly, that's when I would recommend WorthPoint. I don't think everybody needs it because it really depends on what you are selling and how much you are. But if you run into that a lot, I think WorthPoint is worth the money.
Yeah, it's been good for us too. We really like WorthPoint.
I absolutely love it. I really do. Miss Nancy wants to know, does it negatively affect a seller if you watch an item just to see what it goes for and don't intend to buy?
No, I think it more negatively affects us when we go to comp items and end up as watchers and then get offers that we think are for our item. But no, if you're watching an item, just see what it's going for. I don't think that hurts them in any way. If anything, I think it helps the item.
It only negatively affects me. That's it. Watchers. I talked about that. I think, it doesn't affect if somebody is watching. It doesn't affect anything. And I suppose if they are watching it, I'm eventually, or I am sending offers on those items that are being watched. So that gets some activity, I guess, on that item. Whether the buyer is watching it, if they're click-oning it to watch, that's some activity. And if I'm sending an offer out there, some activity as well. So I don't think it's a negative thing.
I like this watcher topic because it's not very often I get an opportunity for Ken to be the curmudgeon-y one.
I think it's a good thing for sellers. I mean, it adds any type of action or any type of action. I guess action is what I'm looking for on your item is good. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if someone's watching it, they're viewing it, if they put it on their list. Like, that's good. That helps the algorithm with your items. I'll tell you a funny story. I was comping items. When you look at something, looking something up on eBay, and it notified the system that I was looking at the item. The seller sent a best offer, and then the little message said, "I'm not sure if you're looking at this item for yourself or if you're looking at what other sold items were, but here's a discount for you if you are interested in the items." I thought it was funny.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they actually put that in the actual thing when they sent out their offer.
Yeah, I think, the thing that it hurts a seller with, and I'll tell you, I get this a lot because I have so many followers on my eBay store. I have 10,000 followers. Yeah, so what Kevin's saying, it hurts to look and not buy, is that I might get a bunch of you watching my items just to see if I sell them or whatever. And what that does is, like, my click-through rate and my buying percent is very, very low, which is not good for the algorithm. So theoretically, even clicking into it and looking, you could hurt like that percent because you're not buying. I don't care. I wouldn't say don't look at my stuff, but that is one of the metrics that eBay follows. And I would say the higher your sell-through rate from your clicks, the more your stuff's going to get shown, which means for me, the less my stuff's getting shown because I have all these people that are watching my store.
And I agree to a point, but then ask the question is, how many times have you had an item sitting in your store for 6 months with no action on it, and then someone sends you an offer, and like a lowball offer, and then all of a sudden someone comes in and just buys it at full price? That does happen too. So is it because people are actually watching it, or is it because that's so? What is the trade-off on that? You know what I'm trying to say, Kat? Yeah. So
I know what you're saying.
Devil's advocate on that one. You're looking at both sides of it, but I do agree with you. I mean, if you have a ton of people looking at it and not buying either, I don't think it's
like eBay thinks nobody wants your item, when reality is it's a bunch of viewers that saw me find this at the thrift store and they're checking it out. No, I'm not saying that at all. I like it. I've had that for years and I'm doing fine. You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing fine, but I think I would be doing better if that didn't happen. And I'm sure you guys that are nosy and watch my stuff know I'm OCD about sending out offers.
Going back to an earlier thing I said, that's why I'm not concerned about ending and selling similar. That's kind of clearing out those watchers that are watching for whatever reason,
Looky
or
loose.
maybe if they just hovered on it,
Looky
I don't
loose.
worry
That's what I
about
call 'em.
losing the watchers. I'll
Right.
get new
I end and
watchers.
sell similar. I don't care if I have 20
Well,
watchers.
So then
You can watch it again.
So I got a question then for all three of you guys. All three of you guys do YouTube. And because we are in the public eye and we do have direct links to our stores and other things like that, do you think that eventually hurts your store? Because if you're saying that people are looking and not buying can actually bury an item, Kevin has 100,000 people on his thing.
Yeah.
Kat, you have 100,000 people on there, So do you think that, I like to ask you guys all around the horn here. Do you think that hurts your store?
I can't get people to
not
watch me,
ours.
Rod, let alone watch my items. You know?
I was gonna say we're not.
What the hell?
We don't have enough viewers to worry about that.
Okay.
And our viewers so far being such a slow, we never had a video take off and just got a bunch of subscribers. We never had that, and I think that helped because we just slow, steady grind, and most of our viewers are actual watchers and they interact. So we don't see a lot of that. We don't see a lot of bad comments, except for our friends that troll us. It's all been positive
Yeah.
so far.
Yeah, and I guess it depends also what kind of content you're making. If you're doing, a lot of sourcing stuff and you're showing those items
Then
that you're,
people
want
if
to
they
watch
see the
and follow and they
sourcing.
see
Yeah,
it.
yeah. But like this, like it is a trade-off. Like Kevin's saying Big Net Plus. I agree. Like I love what I'm doing. I would never ask you guys to stop looking, to stop watching. Like, no, like, and I also want to say you should vet the people you're watching. And this is a very good example of it. I'm sitting here telling you I'm doing all this stuff. Go look at my store. Go look at my sold for the last 90 days. I put my money where my mouth is. I am not hiding anything at all. I am not going to give any super chat on this because I think this is a little more serious than that. Squirrely Reseller sent a super chat and said prayers for Kevin and his family. They lost Sophie, their fur baby. Hugs to him and his family. Yes, losing a pet is absolutely devastating. So very, very sorry for your loss, Kevin. It's so hard. So hard. I'm not gonna play anything for that one. And it is time to end as well. And Jake, you're about 3 minutes early before the end. I guess you made it before we ended at least. So I'll give you a little bit of credit. All right, guys. I want to tell you guys so you know where we got to. We got the questions that were posted before 8:45. So I really want to tell you guys, if you want to make sure your questions are answered, I recommend coming in an hour before the show starts. We had people coming in 5 hours before the show started. Come in early if you want to make sure your questions are answered. Some weeks we get through them all. Some weeks we don't. We never know how many questions we're going to get. So if you want to make sure it's answered live, get it in early because we have 16 that we did not get to tonight. So I'm going to make Corey and Ken big, and then Rod and myself will also tell you what we've got going on, and I'll tell you who's going to be on next week. So here is Corey.
All right. Thanks everybody for showing up tonight. Corey again with Grams and Pops Vintage. We have our channel Grams and Pops Vintage on YouTube. You can catch us on Instagram or Facebook or on the Reseller Clickbait podcast. And that's about all we got going on right now.
All right, here's Ken.
Hey, Ken, SSK Promo. Thanks everybody for showing up tonight. Thanks to Rod and to Kat for having us on. Yeah, check us out on the Reseller Clickbait podcast. I do a show called Ken versus 10 on my channel, SSK Promo, every Wednesday at noon. And also selling on Whatnot. You can find me on SSK Promo on Whatnot. And I've got shows like the next 4 nights, all different kinds of shows. So if you're over there on the Whatnot platform, check me out, SSK Promo. And other than that, that's what I got going on.
Perfect. Rod, what's going on?
I just dropped a new video on my flipping and punching channel, actually like 11 o'clock last night, so it came out today, and it's a nightmare. I have one of the worst returns and worst eBay buyers situations, so go check that out. I'll be dropping a new video on my picking and punching channel tomorrow, and then my picking and punching card should drop a new video later on this week. So I'll get back. I haven't done that video in there in like a couple weeks because I got sick, so I'll be back putting out card content again.
Yeah, so next week is going to be a big one, guys. We are going to have Julian, Bearded Thrift Machine, on with us again as a guest. And also, we are going to have Julie and Mike, One Way Vintage. They have not been on. They are absolutely amazing. I met them at a couple of the conventions, so I'm really excited to have them on for the first time. And always happy to have Julian back on for some throwback times. Those of you that have been watching a long time know he was my co-host for years. So Julian will be on with us. He's the bearded Rod.
He was the better Rod.
No. I will have a video out tomorrow. It will be what sold, and then I don't know what I'm doing Friday. I only have tomorrow's video, which might be a bad mistake on my part with this storm coming. Oh, so you might get tomorrow's, and then I don't know when the next one will be. Yes. Everybody in Florida, please stay safe. Also, I think Alabama, like, you guys better keep an eye on this thing as well. I appreciate Ken and Corey for coming on, Rod for staying here. And all of you in the chat, he's the before Rod. Yeah. Rod is the after.
Cat's first Rod.
Cat's first Rod. No, Cat had two other Rods before Julian, too, though.
Yeah. And what was the fellas who? Gosh.
Calvin and Chris. I had two guy co-hosts.
Yeah.
Calvin and Chris.
Calvin Rod, Chris Rod, Julian Rod, Rod.
Julian Rod, Rob Rod, whatever you want to call him. Thank you guys so much. We could not do the show every week without you here. I mean, we could, but it wouldn't be as fun. I appreciate you guys so much. And we will see you next Tuesday with Julian and Mike and Julie. Bye, guys.
See you guys.